Hello everybody, welcome to Conahey Rail and welcome to the Dakman Productions studio. This will be episode 1 for 2023. So as you notice, it took me quite some time to come out with a video. I haven't done one on Conahey Rail in quite some time actually. A lot of things has happened, so we'll get you up to speed. Basically, in December, if you remember right, Conahey Rail got hit with a flood. Still working on that. Probably won't have everything up and running until about April-ish. Then, on top of all that, the government decided to fly a supersonic jet that went into, that actually created a sonic boom and basically tore down most of my lighting fixture, which I'm still working on doing. I got more up. They're quite expensive too. Somebody recommended track lighting for over here. I'll probably do that for over the layout, track lighting, and then LED in other spots. So I'll probably mix and match, but they'll be on different switches. Like I'll have a switch for the LED lights, or I can turn them off and turn on the track lighting, so I'll have track lighting. So they're not mixed with each other. So I'm going to try and experiment with that. So a viewer at the show said, "Hey Dakman, you haven't done a unboxing in a while," so here we are. We will be doing a unboxing of the Lionel Conrail Coil Car, and we'll compare it to the MTH Coil Car. And you'll see why I'm calling this the Lionel Premier here shortly in the video, but we'll get to that later. So other things that have been happening, I had to make a couple decisions. With the cost of scale-sized O-gauge cost going up, and we're reaching about $100 on the average now per freight car for the O-gauge scale-sized rolling stock. And I know newcomers to O-gauge are going to say, well, what's scale-sized O-gauge? Well, that is true dimensional 1/48 scale rolling stock. So you have semi-scale and you have true scale or scale-sized. The scale-sized is just 1/48 correct proportions. Semi-scale is shorter and it's made to go around tighter radius turns. So basically what it came down to, I could not continue to afford buying scale-sized O-gauge modern and Conrail. So anytime I would buy the modern stuff, there would be Conrail O-gauge or scale-sized O-gauge that I wanted but I couldn't afford, and then I would miss out on it. Or I would buy the Conrail stuff and I would miss out on the modern stuff. And we all know what happens when you miss, buying something, because they're limited. They're limited because everything's a pre-order now. There's only so many made, and that's it. Well, they end up on eBay for twice the price. It had to be one or the other, just for financial reasons. I actually decided to sell off all my modern stuff, CSX and Norfolk Southern, in favor of keeping the Conrail. I know that's going to disappoint some viewers, but that was my decision because basically my layout was built for Conrail. That's what I always wanted. And I expanded at a time where stuff was affordable into, okay, Conrail became CSX and Norfolk Southern, but now I'm at the point where I can't do that anymore. So, you got to cut the ties somewhere. You can't just keep dumping money. You'll be out on the street living in your van with nothing. You know what I mean? So what am I keeping? Well, of course the Conrail stuff. And I'll mix in a little bit if I can, afford it. And there's not much of it out there anyway. Penn Central. So I'll mix in a little bit of Penn Central and Conrail. I have some New York Central stuff here. A couple Reading things, but primarily, and I'm looking over here at my stuff as I'm talking, and but I'm primarily keeping Conrail and some Penn Central stuff. And it's funny, for the most hated railroad in the world, the Penn Central. So the Penn Central was the New York Central and the Pennsylvania Railroad merged together and became Penn Central. Well, that ended up being the biggest. Well, the second biggest failure now, but at the time it was the biggest failure in American history as far as bankruptcy, and it was just topped by the Enron a few years ago. So, yes, and it was actually the most hated railroad because the New York Central fans and the Pennsylvania Railroad fans blamed Penn Central for destroying their favorite railroad. But today, and for the longest time, model manufacturers would not make Penn Central trains because they knew, for the most part, model railroaders hated Penn Central. But things have progressed, and now Penn Central is really getting popular to the point where people are looking for it. And it's kind of funny, how the most hated railroad in America is now becoming something that people actually want. And I'm one of them. And, I have, Penn Central played a part of history, even though it wasn't a good part. But hey, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have Conrail, right? Conrail came and saved the day. Not with just Penn Central, but with other railroads as well. They took over many railroads. But yeah, Conrail saved the day. But it's funny because now people are looking for Penn Central, and it's hard to find. I mean, it was made. Not a lot of Penn Central was made, but it's out there, and it's if you can find it, good luck. I have quite a few things, and I'm not willing to give up any Penn Central that I have. I get asked all the time, "Hey, are you willing to sell this?" Absolutely not. You know how impossible that is to find. So I'm laughing because, yeah, it's like the most hated railroad is now something that a lot of people want. I'll give you an example. This is from Mr. Muffins, this unboxing, by the way. So I'll give you an example. Mr. Muffins did 2 different Penn Central custom-run GP30 locomotives with Lionel. When he submitted that to Lionel, the story goes that Lionel called him up and told him he was crazy, that he should not do Penn Central because they would never sell. And he completely sold out. It's just about as soon as he got them. The most popular one was the one with the white with red lettering. That sold first, and then finally the other one sold. But those quickly sold out. People loved them. Actually, I would love to have. I missed out on that. That was one of the locomotives I really wanted, and I missed out on because I just couldn't afford it. Was the Mr. Muffins custom run Penn Central with the white, GP30 with the white and red lettering. So I would like to find that someday to go with my collection. Sure, I would. So what I opened up today is the Lionel Premier Conrail Coil Cars. And I'm laughing because I know that Lionel is not calling these Premier. They're probably not going to be too happy with me calling them Lionel Premier, but that's what I'm calling them. So these are officially not called Lionel Premier. It's just something that I call them. So the reason why I'm calling these Lionel Premier is because these are the coil cars that Lionel bought from MTH. He bought the MTH coil car molds. So we're going to compare this to an MTH Premier. So if you've been following along with the MTH sale of molds, Atlaso bought some MTH molds. They did actually call their line of those molds the Atlas O Premier line. They did keep the Premier name, so you could tell the difference between Atlas O Master Series, the Trainman Series, and now the Premier Series, which was a good idea. I sort of wish Lionel really did call theirs the Premier Series so we know which ones in the future are the old MTH molds. Much like they did with the Lion Scale. The Lion Scale rolling stock are the old Weaver molds, so we already know that, for the most part, that those are Weaver molds. So we're going to get these out of the box. we're going to compare the Lionel Premier to the MTH Premier. Now, from my understanding, both the Lionel Premier and the Atlas O Premier are still made at the MTH factory. They just bought the molds, but MTH still makes them for them. Okay, we have the two models side by side, Lionel and MTH. So this is the MTH Premier, this is the Lionel Premier. And like I said, it's really not Lionel Premier, it's just Lionel, but hey, I'm calling it Lionel Premier. Maybe it'll catch on, I don't know. But at any rate, I have to say, I have to hand it to Lionel. They did a really, really good job with the paint and the graphics on this coil car. I actually like the, as far as the paint and the graphics, I like the Lionel version better. It's more or less the proper gray color, which the MTH version turned out to be white. I really love how Lionel made the yellow brake wheel. On the car, which I really like what Lionel did here. So if you notice, there's more graphics has been added to this. So on the side of that car, it says Thrall Car. Thrall is the manufacturer who made coil cars, one of them. But what MTH did not do was put the Thrall label on there. And you can see that Lionel even put a warning label on their version. So there's some more improvements have been made. Because there's been people say, oh, what improvements did they make? If any, it's probably the same model. No, I can tell you, there has been improvements made. Now, check this out. Lionel has added what seems to be grab handle in the corners. So if you look at the MTH version, there isn't any. They're missing. They're not there. So yeah, they are trying. I think they made quite a few wonderful improvements when it comes to the paint and graphics of the car. Now that I pointed out the things that I like, let's point out something that really caught my eye that I really wasn't sure of if I'm going to like later or not. But I'm going to explain something here. So, if you look at the wire or the railing that goes here, it is much, much thinner than what's on the MTH version, which is much thicker. So this railing would hold up better to handling. But I will have to say, Lionel made this thinner, not to be cheap, as many would think, but it's more of a prototypical diameter for that particular railing, which is why they made it thinner. So they were trying to refine this model to be more prototypical to the real thing. So by adding a thinner railing or wire to the car, it simulates a more proper size to the real thing in O-gauge scale size. So I have to hand it to them for trying to make a more accurate model out of the MTH mold. Alright, so let's open them up. These are made to come apart. And some of your modern day coil cars are now uncovered. They're not even covering them, if you notice, if you're a rail fan. Oh yeah, look at that. So I'm noticing a color difference on the interior. The MTH is black, and the Lionel is more like a yellowish orange color. So we'll take a look at that. you get a cool load with it. It does come with a load. On another note, sorry for putting my hand in there. I put my hand in the view. On another note, Atlaso has made coil cars as well, but they are a lot more fragile. Just to pre-warn you, that is one car that you put on your layout and you leave it alone. If you plan on playing with the Atlaso coil car, you might as well not even buy it. As you see, the cover on the Lionel version is a lot more snugger fit than the MTH version. I mean, I can pretty much easily... And I like that. I like that it's a snugger fit because it won't come apart that easy. But remember, you got to handle this by putting your hand underneath. Alright, here we are, side-by-side comparison. And as you can see, this is a brown MTH car here. Alright, and as you can see, they have the same exact trucks. So you got the Lionel in gray and the MTH Conrail in brown. The only difference is the MTH Conrail car actually has the MTH stamping on the truck in the corner, as you see there. But the new version no longer has the stamping on it. But they are the exact same trucks. So my final thoughts are, and I'm sure everybody knows where I'm going to head at now, is that if MTH was to update their trucks to, eliminate the stamping, why not take it a step further and update these so they'll have simulated rotating wheel bearing caps? That would have been really cool. I feel as though if it's a scale size model, that more likely I believe it should have simulated rotating wheel bearing caps. But all in all, I still give Lionel an A for this one. Really like it. Really like the added details, graphics. I see they shrunk down the Conrail sign a little bit, or the logo, which is fine. They really did do that. Conrail did have smaller logos on some of them. Conrail didn't always use the same size font on everything. It was different sizes for different cars. A coil car is a great addition to whether you're doing modern or 90s or even 80s. Coil cars have been around for a very long time. And they come with a real simulated load. So, great addition. I do recommend it. So let's take a look at a couple of photos of the real Conrail Coil Shield coil car. Quite a few of these still survive today, including this one, which is beat up, but it's still with us. And you can see on the left side of the photo the yellow warning label that's on the hood. This is the yellow warning label that Lionel had added to the graphics, and that is 100% correct. And if you look at the photo, you'll see the railing that goes around the hood, how thin that is. And that's why they reduced the diameter on the model, because you can see it's not really that thick. You'll also notice that the car is gray, like Lionel got it, and not white as the MTH version. Not sure exactly what happened there, but I believe the MTH colors are quite off. In this photo, you can barely make it out, but it's there. The blue thrall car decal that Lionel added is there. And the yellow hand wheels. You can see they really did paint the hand brake wheels yellow on the Conrail Coil Shields. On another note, the Conrail Coil Shield coil cars that CSX took over or bought received a patched New York Central reporting mark. So this is common practice for CSX to do. They would take Conrail cars that they acquired and patched the reporting marks to New York Central, while the Norfolk Southern was able to retain the original CR or Conrail reporting marks. We'll catch you guys trackside or at the next show. Catch everyone later. Goodbye.